The U.S. Open is in the books. The LIV Tour is back on the docket this week. They're in the state of Oregon. They're playing in the United States. And a United States Open champion, couple times over, has said he's in. Brooks Koepka last week, who didn't want to discuss any of this for fear of overshadowing the U.S. Open or not giving it its due, clearly was thinking about it. Clearly something was on the table.
It was an awkward.
Clearly something was afoot. And, I don't blame him for coming out right at the U.S. Open and saying, I'm out of here. Kind of a tough spot, but that's what all of these players are in, and I guess that's what you're taking the big bucks from the LIV Tour and the Saudi investment fund. And the PGA Tour now loses another big name player. And what it looks like to me is the PGA Tour is going to take all these hits, and I don't know how many of the events over the next few months on the PGA Tour Brooks Koepka was going to play anyway.
He was supposed to play this week at the Travelers.
There you go.
The LIV Tour in Oregon is on the 30th. It's next week.
Next week.
So he's supposed to play. He's still on the docket. And the PGA Tour didn't actually suspend any of the guys.
Until they took a shot in it.
Right. So Brooks might still play this week in Connecticut at the Travelers. We don't know.
Well, he hasn't made any announcement. This was just a report from the worldwide leader in sports.
Wild.
I am not going to sit here and say these guys are anything but out for themselves. That's it. I mean, an insane amount of money is being put on the table, and I would proffer to say anybody who's out there would have to think real hard before saying no about it. Brooks's brother is on the tour as well, the LIV Tour as well. But it's not real tournament golf with what they're playing. It's 54 holes. It's a shotgun start. There is no cut. It's an exhibition tour, and I guess that will be something that the LIV Tour will bristle about being an exhibition tour, but that's what it is because there's no history to it. And even if they do it for 5 years, in the history of the LIV Tour, there hasn't been a single player that's missed a cut. There's no pressure. There's no pressure except, not playing well. You're not going to see anybody snap a club in half and throw it. Because if they did, there's more money where that came from in order to replace it on the spot. There's no intensity to it. There will never be any intensity to it. It'll just be a fun tour for these guys to go around and cash insane checks that none of the fans of golf can actually relate to. And I know the purses are going up, and on the PGA Tour as well, the U.S. Open's responded. They had a $3 million prize for first place this time around. They jacked it up.
Yeah, up $1 million from the last year's.
What all this is going to do is just serve to take fewer players away from the PGA Tour and put them on a tour that'll be difficult to find with no real stakes to it. And the person who will lose out is the fan of professional golf who wants to see the best players play against the best players with stakes on the line, where if you don't play well, you miss a cut. And you are also getting your game ready for the majors because you are playing intensely pressurized golf against the best players. I mean, that's what the tour is for. And now there'll be fewer of those players and fewer viewers of interest. So when you hear any of these players say they're just trying to grow the game of golf, all they're doing is basically destroying it or watering it down and living out the dream of a very seemingly bitter, angry guy in Greg Norman who wanted to take a piece out of the tour and finally found a partner in the Saudis who were going to bankroll it. You're on like the Greg Norman revenge tour as he stares people down. And everyone avoids the responsibility for who they're taking the money from. Why would I want to watch what they're doing? with the weird team rules that I have no idea what they are, and those avatars for what, the 15-year-olds on TikTok who are interested in the LIV Tour? Like, what are we doing? So I heard that about Koepka, and I'm like, I guess I'll miss him, and Bay Hill and the Travelers and whatever. I guess you'll miss him. But
he doesn't play that much anyway.
That's why I was saying
non-major events, but he's always a fun and compelling watch.
Of course,
in the majors when he's healthy. This year he really hasn't been healthy and hasn't been competing that well in the majors. But
so they make the tour, they get their name, they get their fame, and they get their history making career, and then bail when somebody waves a bigger check at him. I guess that's free agency. I guess that's, again, what a lot of us would do. So, I understand it's their choice, and they've made it, but just don't give me the we're growing the game of golf thing. That's not what you're doing.
Yeah, no.
What you're doing is you're acting out
cash grab.
Somebody's revenge tour is really what it is. And he's getting his piece, man, because they are getting big name players. I guess Kevin Van Valkenburg, our friend from ESPN who called in a couple weeks ago, says the Saudis are putting up $2 billion. They've got a pool of $2 billion to spend. There's no competing with that. So I just don't want to hear that we're growing the game of golf. As a matter of fact, what you're doing is watering it down. And I don't know what the PGA Tour is going to do, except at some point either wait this thing out and see what the ratings look like, see what the partners of the sport think, and assume that once football rolls around in 4 weeks, we're not talking about the LIV Tour.
Right.
I mean, when training camps open up and Baker Mayfield is going to go somewhere or not, or Deshaun Watson is suspended or not, assuming he will be, the Cowboys are going to be starting up their training camp, and then preseason games happen and college football begins. We're not talking about the LIV Tour. And maybe that's what the PGA Tour is going to be banking on. And then all of a sudden, what? They get 4, 5, 6 other significant players, and then we're going to start seeking out on the internet what it looks like?
I guess. I mean, this is going until the end of October. I mean, the last event of the year is October 27th through the 30th.
Yeah, guess what? This is what I'm sure the PGA Tour is banking on too. Give me that date again.
So there's an event coming up this week, June 30th, the second event. The 8th event and the final one of this year is October 27th to the 30th in Miami.
Hang on a minute. October 27th. That's when they'll be in Miami.
Yeah, final event of the year.
Got it. That's also the night the Ravens are at the Bucs on Thursday Night Football. Yep. Dolphins are going to be at the Lions that week, so I guess they have the stage to themselves sports-wise that year. Patriots at Jets. Steelers at Eagles. Niners at the Rams.
Hey, now.
Packers at the Bills.
Jeez.
Yeah. See ya. I don't even know what's in college football. I think that's the weekend Michigan and Michigan State usually play. They play in the last week of goodbye. I mean, whatever.
Halloween.
So that's what they're basically banking on. We're talking about it now because we're in the middle of June, and
there's nothing really going on.
Well, I mean, outside of the Tampa Bay Lightning taking a piece of the Avalanche finally.
How about that?
And the Yankees coming back from
you guys are never going to lose
a loss.
So how many losses do you have?
17.
So you're going to go 145-17. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Well, I mean, again, that's what I guess they're banking on, is that the LIV Tour at some point and the PGA Tour will endure because they have decades of history and experience and a competition where there's no shotgun starts. There's actual more holes after a 54th.
Yeah.
And people get cut.